my favorite parts of my gamified classroom, and it seems to be one of the most popular with my students as well, is what I call a ranking system, and it's based on ranking quests. Now, it can be more complicated than what I make it, but what I realized was that I wanted to have a system where students would voluntarily give me some feedback data. And I wanted to check their content knowledge at various points throughout the year, as well as some of their skills that hopefully they're learning by being in my historical classroom. So I made these quests. They're not really quests. They're more like small assessments. But I call them a quest. And students can voluntarily choose to go on these small quests, and most of them take 20 to 25 minutes. And because I have my classroom set up as sort of this open world setting where students can do a lot of different things in the time that I give them, this has become a pretty popular thing that students choose to do. Now, this involves a couple of different things. One of the layers is that students have to meet a certain level within my class. So based on my XP system and my XP grading, the students will be able to see what level they're on. So if they're level 3, they can choose to go on the first ranking quest. And they have to do the ranking quests in order. So if they've passed the first ranking quest, then they can go on the second ranking quest, but they can only do that if they're a level 5. So they are encouraged to do better in the class so that they can go on these different ranks. And I just want to show you a little bit about how I make the ranking system visible in the classroom, and how the students can get a benefit for that visibly so that they can be encouraged to go on further. So when I came up with these ranking systems, I was basing it on a karate belt system. And I wanted the students to be able to display their value, their rank value visibly so that everybody could see. And what I came up with was, actually, I wanted to put it on the wall. I had tinkered with systems where students would put their stickers on their binders or maybe on their laptops, but what I found was that they fell off and some didn't really even put it on there. So each rank, and you can see here I have a bunch of different ranks. So the white is my Sentinels Guild and the black is my Hunters Guild, and they can start off as a neophyte, and that's where all of these clothespins come into play. So if they're a neophyte, right, these are the neophyte hunters and these are my neophyte sentinels, and when they reach level 5 they can go on the ranking quest, and once they've gone on the ranking quest they have to take a little 10-question quiz, and based on being a level 3 they've gone through unit 1 at least. So the quiz is 10 questions, and they would have to get at least an 8 out of 10 on the quiz in order to move on to what I call a performance task. Now, one of the big things in my class that they have to learn is to tell the difference between primary and secondary sources. It's pretty common, but a lot of students do struggle with that. So their performance task is to take a set of documents and separate them into primary and secondary sources. If they can perform that task well, then they can move on and move to the next level. And we have a big ranking ceremony where they can come here and they can take their pin and they can move it up onto the next level, so that students can see that they have earned that new rank. We do a big ceremony in my classroom where we play music and students walk across the front and they shake my hand and they can earn this new rank and demonstrate their knowledge. One of the things that I do as being a defender or a vigilante is that the students can make their own superhero logo, because I have a superhero theme, they all have superpowers, and they can make their logo. And I was trying to figure out what to do with it. Well, I put their logo on their personal grade book, and then I print off the logo and I have my Hall of Heroes. So far, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and I have a couple that I need to print off still. Students have made their own superhero logo, and they got really excited about it. And these are students that don't always get excited about doing extra work, so they went through the time and energy to create their own little superhero logo. This is where I keep all the information for completing their next quest. So this is the first rank quest, and when they reach in here, if they are at a level 3, they will also get a code that pops up on their spreadsheet that will be needed in order to access this PowerPoint. So they grab the USB drive, they they open up the PowerPoint, which really sends them to a Google form. In that Google form, they have to enter in the lot code, and that lets them take the quiz. And if they get an 8 out of 10, then they can move on to the performance task. The performance task materials are all back here. Now, I have to be present when they do it, but I have some old textbooks, and we tore up the textbooks, and they have to separate primary and secondary sources in order to move on to the next level. All of this is well known to the students. I don't try to hide anything. In fact, in my classroom, I put up the conditions, and this is on our website too. So if they want to move on to the next rank, well, here's all of the Watchers Quest ranks. These are the things that they would need to do in order to move on to the next rank. It's a great system. I've had students, about half of my students have at least attempted the first rank quest. That means that they are voluntarily choosing to take a 10-question quiz and then voluntarily choosing to demonstrate the knowledge that I'm hoping that they demonstrate elsewhere. Now, there's a bit of an overlap with some of the other things they might do, but it's a nice refresher to see just how much mastery is involved in that, both content and skills-based mastery, to see if that first competence test, where they may have done it in a different mission or a different quest, has really taken hold, and it's something that they've internalized. So I hope you are interested in doing a ranking quest. I think that it's been a fantastic opportunity for my students to really show what they know and to have a visible representation of the effort and time that they've put into learning some of these skills. So join me next week, and hopefully we will be able to talk a little bit more about the gamified classroom. Thanks. Good night.